ratios. Okay, over here we are going to face 4 ratios. Out of 15, we are done with 6. First and second was about the liquidity ratios, the current ratio and the liquid ratio. Liquidity ratios, the short-term solvency ratios. After that, the second topic was solvency ratios, long-term solvency ratios. Long-term mein, we had 4 ratios. First one was debt equity ratio, right? Second was total assets to debt ratio. Third was proprietary ratio. And fourth one was interest coverage ratio. Interest coverage ratio was the one which was expressed in times. Okay, so out of 6, first 5 will be expressed in the ratio proportion 1. Okay, and the 6th ratio, that is interest coverage ratio, was expressed in times. Now, these are turnover ratios, will have to be expressed in times only. Okay, and these turnover ratios are also better known as activity ratios या फिर performance ratios. These are all 1 marker important questions. Please take care. Let us start with now 4 ratios are there. First one, the most important one is inventory turnover ratio. Inventory turnover ratio या फिर stock turnover ratio. As I already told you, stock is better known as inventory over here. So we will call it as inventory turnover ratio. Now the best thing about the turnover ratios formula is whichever ratio we are calculating, like stock turnover hai, so in the denominator part, it will be average stock. Likewise, debtors turnover ratio, so we have average debtors. Creditors turnover ratio, we have average creditors. Working capital turnover ratio, we have working capital as a denominator. So very easy to remember the formula for turnover ratios. Okay, let us see the formula. Stock turnover ratio or inventory turnover ratio is equal to cost of goods sold. I have already told you it is also better known as, now in this chapter we will try to remember this word as cost of revenue from operations upon average stock या फिर average inventory. Okay, so stock turnover ratio formula is very clear on the screen. It is cost of revenue from operations upon average inventory. Now, how do we calculate cost of goods sold? So we already have done this earlier, but again, cost of goods sold. Okay, cost of revenue from operations can be computed in 3 ways. All 3 ways you need to memorize. Okay, first and the most important one is CPCEO. Now, can you tell me why I have highlighted this E and O with red over here? Anybody?
Sir, maybe because E and O are also related to profit and loss account, but revenue or operations is related to trading.
These items are related to profit and loss account as well, but I would like to have only direct expenses from here, right? That's a reason. Only direct expenses. C stands for, if you remember the format, expenses का statement of P&L, CPC. कौन बताएगा?
Yes, C stands for cost of material consumed. P stands for purchase of stock. C stands for changes in inventory.
Changes in inventory. Inventory में 3 terms हैं. Work in progress, finished goods and stock in trade.
Stock in trade.
Where?
And E stands for employee benefit expenses and O for other expenses.
Very good. Now, who will tell me from E part, the employee benefit expenses, which will be my direct expense?
The wages.
Wages. And any amount related to workers. That's very correct, bacha. Other expenses was basically classified into how many categories?
So direct, non-operating and operating.
Very good. So can you just give me some examples of direct expenses from O, other expenses, sir?
So rent of the factory.
Okay.
Water charges.
Water and fuel charges, right? Carriage charges. Power. That's very correct. Any amount which was related to trading account. That is what I want you to remember, right? So this is the first and the most important formula. Please remember CPCEO. Okay, next formula is, the other two are simple. Okay, so this is what has been mentioned over here. C stands for cost of material consumed, P for purchase of stock in trade, C is for changes in inventories, that is related to finished goods, work in progress, and stock in trade. And then I would like to add the direct expenses. Direct expenses I'll be getting from E and O. Okay, so this has to be taken care of. Okay, fine. Wages, you can see that it's a part of the employee benefit expenses, and carriage freight, power, fuel, all these expenses will be a part of other direct expenses. Okay, next, the another formula for COG is opening stock plus purchase. Okay, that's a net purchase. Net purchase means purchase minus purchase returns. Okay, plus direct expenses and minus is closing stock. And the third formula for COG is, okay, will be revenue from operations minus gross profit. You will have to remember all three formulas because it will differ from sum to sum. Like जब हम numerical start करेंगे तो we will have the variety of sums. Okay, so in which sum, which formula has to be applied, so we should be well aware of. Okay, so all three formulas please memorize. Next, how do we calculate average stock? Okay, the average stock is opening stock plus closing stock to be divided by 2. This is a formula for average inventory या फिर average stock. Okay. Direct expenses we already have discussed. Okay. Direct expenses may be shown in notes to accounts along with the indirect expenses under the following two heads. We know which two heads are there. We already have discussed that. One is employee benefit expenses, from where we need to take the amounts which are direct in nature, that is related to wages or workers. Related to workers, it can be the provident fund contribution or staff welfare expenses, but related to workers, right? It can be bonus to workers, it can be PF contribution to workers, etc. Right? And the second head, we know it is other expenses. Other expenses we have already told us about the fuel and power, carriage inward, freight, cartage, etc. Okay, so these are the direct expenses which we need to take care of. What is a note that we need to take care over here is the information containing direct expenses may be given as additional information. Okay, so we need to check in the sums. What is the additional information given to us? What is the notes to accounts given to us? We need to go through. Okay, and then the most important part is this. In the absence of any specific information, it may be assumed as there are no direct expenses. But we are into the sum. We are calculating COGS and we are having this employee benefit expenses, but there is no information. The employee benefit expenses में कौन से amounts हैं? There is no information related to that. Then we need to assume that there are no direct expenses. Okay, next. In case of trading company, we know manufacturing or trading company can be there. Okay, so in case of trading company, CP, the P wala part, that is purchase of stock in trade, will be given. So when purchase of stock in trade is given, that means the next point is the employee benefit expenses in such cases will not include wages, because wages we pay to workers who work with us in the factory, right? So जब trading company है, okay, so we are just purchasing goods from one place and selling to another place. We are not into the manufacturing process at all. So the amount of wages is not possible in that case. So whenever you are given the statement of P&L, at that time we need to take care whether it's a manufacturing company or a trading company. Okay, so we need to take care of that, and accordingly we will add the direct expenses. Okay, so two things important from here. In the absence of any specific information, we assume that there are no direct expenses, and in case of trading company, it is very clear because it's a trading company, nothing goes in the manufacturing process at all, so there is no chance of wages in employee benefit expenses. What is the significance of this ratio? Okay, so basic objective of computing the inventory turnover ratios to ascertain whether the investment in stock has been judicially used by the management or not. Okay, are they able to convert their stock into the sales or not? And secondly, higher turnover ratio is considered better as it signifies more sales per rupee of investment in stock. Okay, and also low stock turnover will mean either over investment in stock or inefficient use of investment in stock. Inefficiency of management, we already had a word when we were discussing about the current ratio. I told you at that point of time, the in current ratio, if the current ratio is high, like ideally it should be 2:1, but with this 5:1, I told you like the funds are lying idle, or maybe it's over investment in the stock itself, because stock is not converted into sales. So these were the limitations at that point of time, and the same thing you can see that it is inefficiency of the management to use the stock properly. Okay. What is the note again? Yes, if COGS is not available, okay, in that case, and yes, if sales is given, then the following formula will be used. Instead of COGS, we will be using sales over there. Correct? Please take care. If COGS is not at all available and sales is available, in that case, it will be sales upon average inventory. I think second note should also be there. Yes. If average stock is not given, in that case, we will have closing stock. So formula will be COGS upon closing stock. These two changes can be there. It depends on the sum, but ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब अपनी मर्जी से कोई भी formula लगा दिया. But please take care, like if we are not able to calculate the average stock, then and then only we will be having this option to go with closing stock, that is COGS upon closing stock. Correct? And yes, one more formula is there for average holding period. For how many days like you have been holding the stock with you. To know this, we have a formula that is days in a year, or it can be months in a year upon stock or inventory turnover ratio. In general, we take 365 days, right? But yes, if it is specifically given as a leap year, in that case, it will be 366. Otherwise, 365 days in a year to be divided by inventory turnover ratio will help us to get the average holding period. Right. Over here, we've been asked to calculate inventory turnover ratio. Let me write the formula. Inventory turnover ratio.
It is cost of goods sold upon average inventory.
It's cost of revenue from operations. Actually, you should develop a habit of writing this thing. Fine. Okay, now who will give me the formula for cost of goods sold? Yeah, for cost of revenue from operations. Yes, anybody? When this statement of P&L is there, we have this purchase of stock and trade, we have changes in inventory, we have employee benefit expenses. Which formula? Okay, CPCEO. This is what is the formula I want you to remember as far as the cost of revenue from operation is concerned. Okay, so let me write the thing again. Key cost of revenue. So revenue from operations. Okay, will be equal to, now the C. It talks about the cost of material consumed, but C is not seen. Okay, we can see that it's purchase of stock in trade. When purchase of stock in trade is given, it indicates that this is a trading company, right? One thing. Secondly, when it is a trading company, at that time, just need to assume that over here, employee benefit expenses will not have any direct expense, right? Two things. Purchase of stock in trade indicates it's a trading company, and because it's a trading company, we don't expect any direct expense as a part of employee benefit expenses like wages and anything related to workers. Okay, so C is not there, cost of material consumed is not there, purchase of stock in trade can be seen as rupees 6 lakh. Okay, P is done. C again, changes in inventories can be seen as 20,000. Again, E is employee benefit expenses, but just now I told you that none of these expenses will be including the direct expenses, employee mein nahi hoga, but other expenses, note number 2 can be seen. And let us go to note number 2 and find from there which amounts I'm supposed to take from here. Carriage and freight, we need to add these two expenses over here. So 8 plus 12 is 20,000. Okay, so what is the total of this? 6 lakh plus 20 plus 20, that is 6 lakh 40,000. Okay, so this is my cost of revenue from operations. How do we calculate average inventory? What is the formula for that?
It is opening inventory plus closing inventory upon 2.
Yes, opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. That's very correct. Okay, now if I have to find the opening and closing from where will I be able to get the opening and closing inventory?
Notes to accounts.
Notes to accounts, obviously. Okay, so we can see this term like changes in inventory. Okay, so changes in inventory, note number 1 can be seen. So we just have to go to that note number 1 and find the opening and the closing stock. Right? The opening inventory can be seen as 1 lakh, the closing can be seen as 80,000. So let me write over there 1 lakh, right, plus 80,000 to be divided by 2. Okay, so this is going to be 1 lakh 80,000 to be divided by 2. So answer is 90,000. Okay, so this is how I have calculated the average inventory, and you all are supposed to do it like this itself. Now finally, I have to calculate the inventory turnover ratio, right? That is equal to, now cost of revenue from operation was 6,40,000. Okay, to be divided by average inventory, that is 90,000. Yes, if anyone of you can get me the answer, please.
7.11.
7.11 times. This is to be taken care of. Okay, it has to be in times because turnover है तो चारों के चारों ratio times में ही रहेंगे. Okay. Okay, fine. Question number 18 now. We have been asked to calculate inventory turnover ratio and average holding period. Okay, I would like to know the formula for cost of revenue from operations.
Sir, ये वाला CPCEO.
Oh, that's very correct. Okay, so if you can just help me to place the values, cost of revenue from operations.
Yes, sir.
Please go for it. See, that is cost
8 lakh.
of consumed. 8 lakhs is given to us. Okay, plus purchase of stock in trade is not given to us. Okay, see again, changes in inventory.
Minus 30.
Minus 30 is given to us, so we write minus 30 over there, plus
2,60,000.
नहीं, E में check करना पड़ेगा ना कि कौन से direct expenses हैं.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us go to E part, that is note number 3. Note number 3 can be seen over here. Okay, so I have already marked with red over here. Wages is given to us. ठीक है? Wages is a direct expense, and we can see that PF contribution total is 60,000, but out of 60, of which rupees 40,000 relates to workers. That is the information given, and I'm interested to know the direct expenses only over here. So wages 1,20,000 and PF contribution of workers 40,000. Okay, so I'll take these two over here. Okay, so let me add 1,20,000 for wages and 40,000 for PF contribution of workers. Okay, now O is there. O is again other expenses. Other expenses में भी total हमें नहीं देखना. I need to know the direct expenses only. So again you can see I have marked with red over there. Fuel and power, carriage and freight are the direct expenses. Admin and selling expenses, operating expense, but not direct. I need to know the direct expenses. So if I get the total of these three now, 40 plus 10 plus 15, okay, that will be 65. So let me add 65 over here. Okay, yes, if anyone of you can get me the total, 8 lakh minus 30 plus 120 plus 40 plus 65.
9,95,000.
9,95,000. Okay, that's very correct. So I have cost of revenue from operations with me. Now this is something very important to me, average inventory. Okay, so can you tell me from where will I be getting this average inventory के लिए opening and closing? The formula is simple, opening plus closing divided by 2. But from where will I get the opening inventory and the closing inventory?
From notes to accounts, changes in inventories of finished goods.
Yes, changes in inventory is one area from where you can always find the opening and the closing inventory. Any other hint apart from this? It is cost of material consumed, right? So now, opening inventory, अगर मुझे देखना है तो opening inventory can be seen as rupees 1,20,000 for raw material and all others 1 lakh. So let me write this over here, 1,20,000 plus 1 lakh, that is 2,20,000 as opening, correct? Closing के लिए closing of raw material can be seen as 1,10,000 and 130 for others. So 110 plus 130, okay, that's 240. So let me add over here 2,40,000 and then divided by 2. 220 plus 240 is 460. 460 divided by 2. Okay, so that will be 2,30,000. Okay, so that's my average inventory. Now, after getting average inventory, okay, I'm ready to calculate the inventory turnover ratio. Yes, inventory turnover ratio. Okay, so that will be equal to cost of revenue from operation, that has come to 995,000, to be divided by average inventory, that is 2,30,000.
4.32 times.
4.32 or 33. 4.326 are enough. So let us make it 4.33 times. Correct. Okay. We are done with inventory turnover ratio, but the second formula is to be applied, that is average holding period. Okay, so let me apply that formula over here. Average holding period. Yes, how many of you remember the formula for this? Average holding period is equal to?
It is days or months in a year divided by inventory ratio, inventory turnover ratio.
Correct. I'll take days in a year to be divided by inventory turnover ratio. Okay, fine. So days in a year. Okay, the average holding period, okay, will be equal to 365. We take normally, okay, because it's 2019, it's not a leap year, and inventory turnover ratio has come to 4.33 times. So 365 to be divided by 4.33. Yes, please get me the answer.
84.29.
84.29. Okay, because 0.29 here, it is less than 0.5, so let us make it as 84 days approximately. Okay. So this is how you are supposed to solve the sums based on inventory turnover ratio, especially when you are given the statement of P&L. Correct. We are done with the two sums. In the first case, it was purchase of stock in trade. It was a trading company, so we need to remember and please avoid this employee benefit expenses at that point of time. When it's a trading company, so we don't expect any direct expenses to be a part of employee benefit expenses. Secondly, it was a manufacturing company, so for direct expenses, we need to look for two sources. One is E and other is O, employee benefit expenses and other expenses, right? Next sum, compute inventory turnover ratio from the following information. Cost of revenue from operation is given, purchase of stock in trade is given, and opening inventory is given. Inventory turnover ratio, the formula is well known to us. Let me write it. That is cost of revenue from operations, okay, to be divided by average inventory. Okay, yes. How will I get average inventory? Because only opening inventory is given to me, closing is not there. So I need to work on the closing inventory first. I need to calculate that, and then I can calculate the average inventory, and then I can calculate this inventory turnover ratio. So I need to apply the formula for COGS over here. Okay, apply the formula for cost of revenue from operations. Till now we have just applied one formula, but the second formula is also to be applied over here. That is opening inventory, okay, plus net purchases हमेशा net ही रहेंगे, and minus closing inventory, right? Because purchase of stock and trade is there, I don't expect any direct expenses over here. Okay, fine. So if I just place the values over here, cost of revenue from operation given to me is 5 lakh. Okay, sorry. And opening inventory given to me is 70. Purchases given to me is 5 lakh 20. Okay, minus closing inventory. Okay, right. So closing inventory will be equal to, like it's 5 lakh 90,000. Okay, minus 5 lakh. Okay, so that will be 90,000 rupees. Okay. So closing inventory is there with me. Now it is easy for me to calculate the average inventory. And if I don't write the formula for average inventory, you know that average is equal to opening plus closing divided by 2. So let me take this fraction from here. Okay, opening is 70,000 plus closing is 90,000 to be divided by 2. Yes, 70 plus 90 is total is 1,60,000 to be divided by 2. Yes, the answer will be
80,000.
80,000. Okay, 80,000 is my average inventory. Now I have COGS with me. I have average inventory with me. I can calculate inventory turnover ratio. Okay. So inventory turnover ratio will be equal to COGS was 5 lakh rupees. Okay, and to be divided by average inventory, that is 80,000.
6.25 times.
6.25 times. That's very correct. Compute inventory turnover ratio from the following information. Revenue from operation is given to us rupees 4 lakh. Gross profit is given to us, that's 25%. Purchases is 2,70,000 and closing stock is rupees 40,000. Now this gross profit, which I have already highlighted, underlined also, right? So when nothing is mentioned, we just assume that the gross profit is always on its selling price, okay, on sales. So let us calculate the first amount of gross profit. Okay, so gross profit given to us is 25%. 25% किसका लेंगे तो sales का लेंगे. And sales given to us over here is revenue from operations rupees 4 lakh. Okay, so 25% of 4 lakh. 4 lakh की जगह पर 25% of revenue from operations. Okay, so let us calculate it. So gross profit will be equal to 4 lakh into 25%. Okay, 4 lakh ka 25% will be
1 lakh.
1 lakh rupees. That's correct. Okay, so gross profit is rupees 1 lakh. Okay, it is always on sale when we don't have any information. Otherwise, gross profit can be on sales as well as on cost. The sums will be there for that also. Now, tell me, like, if I have to get inventory turnover ratio, I need to have COGS. Any other formula for COGS you remember?
The COGS formula that we know is revenue from operations minus gross profit.
That's very good. As per the requirement, that is the only formula we can apply over here. Okay, so let me write it as cost of revenue from operations, right? Cost of revenue from operations, okay, will be equal to revenue from operations, right? Okay, minus gross profit. That's a formula required now. So cost of revenue from operations, okay, that will be equal to revenue from operation given to me is 4 lakh rupees. Okay, and minus the gross profit calculated is rupees 1 lakh. Okay, so this amount will be equal to 3 lakh rupees. Okay, cost of revenue from operation aa gaya. Now for average inventory, I need to have opening and closing. Closing is given to me, but opening is not there. Do I have any hint through which I can calculate the opening inventory?
Sir, we have the formula that cost of revenue from operation is equal to opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock.
Very good. I need to apply that formula. Okay. Opening inventory. Okay. Plus purchases. This purchases is always be net and minus closing inventory. Okay, fine. Cost of revenue from operations is rupees 3 lakh rupees. Okay, that is equal to opening is not there. So let me write opening as it is, opening inventory. Okay, plus purchases given to me is 2,70,000 and minus is closing inventory, that is 40,000. Yes, anybody who can just get me the right final answer, like opening inventory will be
70,000.
Okay, 270 minus 40 is 230. 70,000 is right. Okay, so I have opening inventory with me as 70,000. Okay, so we have COGS with us, that is cost of revenue from operation, that is rupees 3 lakh. We have opening inventory calculated right now 70. We have closing inventory 40,000. First thing, again, before we apply the formula for inventory turnover ratio, we need to have average inventory now. Yes, average inventory. I'm not writing the formula. Let me place the values directly. What is the formula for that otherwise?
Opening inventory plus closing inventory upon 2.
Okay, I'm not writing the formula now. Okay, opening plus closing to be divided by 2. Opening inventory calculated is 70,000 and plus closing inventory is 40,000 to be divided by 2. Yes, the total is 1,10,000 to be divided by 2. This will be 55,000, right? Okay, now what? Inventory turnover ratio, right? Inventory turnover ratio. So inventory turnover ratio will be equal to, yes, anybody, formula please? I need to write this formula once at least.
Cost of revenue from operations upon average inventory.
Cost of revenue from operations. It's very correct. Upon average inventory, right? I have both the values with me. Okay, fine. I have both the values with me, so I'll be able to calculate inventory turnover ratio. Yes, COGS, that is cost of revenue from operation, was rupees 3 lakh to be divided by average inventory, that is 55,000. Yes, if anyone can get me the answer, please.
5.45 times.
Okay, 5.45 time. ठीक है, done. So we are done with this particular sum.
सर ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट तो रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन में इंक्लूडेड होगा ना पहले से ही? सर हमने इसमें 4 लाख इंटू 25/100 क्यों किया है?
तो आपके हिसाब से क्या करना चाहिए?
सर 125/100 नहीं होना चाहिए क्योंकि इंक्लूडेड है.
Very good question actually. When you charge a profit, the profit is charged, profit on cost is one way of charging the profit, and another way is profit on sales, right? There are two ways to charge the profit. Now point is, like, if nothing is mentioned, so we just take this by default, profit on sales, by default, correct? But if it is mentioned that is profit on cost, that is a time when you need to take accordingly with it. Now over here, what I want you to assume is, when it is profit on cost, so let the cost be 100. Okay, let the cost be 100. Okay, and if the profit is, how much is the profit? Suppose 25. Okay, so in that case, sales will be 125, right? So this will be there, okay, on cost, profit on cost hoga to. But then over here, when it is profit on sales, so how do you go with the things? Like, so we need to assume over here, so let the sales be 100, and then if the profit is 25, so in that case, cost, yes, cost will be 75.
75.
Correct. So this is what is the point. So you need to remember this part. Okay, so then it will be very, very easy for you. I told you in the beginning itself that when I started the sums, by default it will be on sales, but it can be on cost as well. So ये hint याद रखना है. You need to take care of the words given into the question, right? We continue the next sum now. We need to calculate the closing inventory in this sum, and opening inventory is given rupees 50,000. Total revenue from operations 4 lakh rupees, including cash revenue from operation rupees 1 lakh. Okay, total purchases is rupees 3 lakh, including credit purchases of rupees 2 lakh. Goods are sold at a profit of 20% on sales. How to start with the sum?
So net sales minus gross profit.
Net sales minus gross profit. That's all. We will get cost of revenue from operations. Revenue from operation is there. Profit का hint दिया हुआ, that is 20% on sales. तो sale तो है ही हमारे पास, उसका 20% ले लो. We have gross profit with us, right? So let us start with the same thing again as we started in the previous sum. Gross profit is 20% on sales, right? So let us calculate it. So gross profit is equal to, sales is rupees 4 lakh, okay, into 20%, 80,000, easy to calculate. Okay, so now the next formula will be cost of revenue from operations, right? Cost of revenue from operations is revenue from operations less gross profit. Okay, fine. So let me place the values over here. Cost of revenue from operations will be equal to revenue from operation is rupees 4 lakh and minus 80,000 is easy to calculate, that is 3 lakh 20,000. Okay, now this is one thing like we are done with. Now what?
So then we will use the formula cost of goods sold is equal to opening inventory plus net purchase minus closing inventory.
Very good. Cost of revenue from operations, that is equal to opening inventory, right, plus purchases minus closing inventory, right? Okay, so let us apply the values over here. Cost of revenue from operations, okay, that is equal to opening is 50,000, opening is 50,000 plus purchases given to us. We need to take the total purchases over here, that is 3 lakh 30,000 irrespective of cash and credit, right? And minus is closing inventory to calculate करना था, closing inventory. Okay, so I need to place the value in the cost of revenue from operation का value place कर देना. Cost of revenue from operation calculated was 3,20,000. I'm sorry, 3,20,000. ठीक है. Now, if anyone can help me with the value, closing
3,000.
right. So done. Okay, next, from the following information, calculate inventory turnover ratio. Revenue from operation is rupees 5 lakh, gross profit is 20%, opening stock was 1/3 of closing stock, and closing stock was 15% of sales. It's very, very easy to calculate. Anybody with any hint how to start with the sum?
सर पहले हम प्रॉफिट निकाल लेंगे रेवेन्यू ऑफ ऑपरेशन और जो ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट दिया है.
ठीक है. So if I calculate directly, I'm sure if I don't write the statement of gross profit, that's fine, right? I'll calculate the values directly now. Gross profit is 20%, not mentioned. On sales से on cost है तो क्या assumption होगा?
तो सेल्स पे होगा.
Sales पे ही होगा always. Revenue from operation given to us rupees 5 lakh into 20%. Yes, that's very correct. Okay, so this will be rupees 1 lakh. Okay.
1 lakh.
Fine. Okay, after this gross profit, now what?
सर कॉस्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन निकाल लेंगे.
Okay.
कॉस्ट ऑफ ऑपरेशन.
Cost of revenue from operation. Okay. Yes. What is the formula for that?
सर revenue from operation minus gross profit.
Okay. Revenue from operations minus gross profit. Okay, fine. So let us place the values over here. Cost of revenue from operations will be equal to revenue from operations is rupees 5 lakh minus 1 lakh. Okay, so this will be 4 lakh rupees. ठीक है. Then what?
First, we will find closing stock by 15% of sale.
Very good, very good. Okay, closing stock. Okay, closing stock, the hint is very clearly given to us. That's 15% of sales. Sales is rupees 5 lakh. Okay, so 5 lakh ka 15%. How much will that be?
75,000.
75,000. Okay, after that,
Then we will find opening stock, which is 1/3 of closing stock.
yes, the hint given to us for opening stock was 1/3 of closing stock. So let me write it as closing stock. Okay, into 1/3, right? Into 1/3. Okay, so let me now place the values for opening stock. So opening stock will be equal to closing stock calculated as 75,000 into 1/3. 1/3 of 75,000. 25,000. Okay. Now what? Average inventory.
Which is opening stock plus closing stock upon 2.
Yes. Average inventory is equal to, I'm not writing the formula, opening plus closing divided by 2, right? So I just place the values directly over here. opening inventory calculated is 25,000, closing is 75,000 to be divided by 2. Yes, so this will be 1 lakh to be divided by 2, that is 50,000. Okay, now what?
Then we'll put the formula of inventory turnover ratio.
Yes, inventory turnover ratio. This thought process has to go on and on कि ये तो हो गया, अब आगे क्या? तो ये अगर नहीं सोचेंगे तो आंसर भी नहीं आना. So what is the formula for inventory turnover ratio? Anyone?
Cost of revenue from operation divided by average inventory.
Okay, so I'm not writing the formula now. Cost of revenue from operations upon average inventory. Cost is rupees 4 lakh and average inventory is 50,000. Yes. How much? 4 lakh divided by 50. 8, right?
8 times.
8 times. Times is important for me. Yeah. Okay. Done. Compute inventory turnover ratio from the following information. Revenue from operation is rupees 3 lakh. Gross profit is 25% on cost. This is a change. Opening stock was 1/3 of closing stock and closing stock was 30% of sales. ये ठीक है, ये simple है. But this is something important. Gross profit is 25% on cost. So what was the assumption? Yes?
So we will assume the cost to be 100.
Very good.
And then it would be like 3 lakh into 125 upon 100.
Okay, let me write the things, right? Let the cost be 100. Profit is 25. Okay, so sales is 125. It doesn't take that long time to write these things, right? Okay, now cost is 100, profit is 25, sales is 125. What is given to us? Sales is given to us. That's 3 lakh rupees. Revenue from operation is given to us. If I'm multiplying by 100, I'm getting the cost directly. So this will be cost of revenue from operations. ठीक है. Cost is 100, profit is 25, sales is 125, sales is 3 lakh into 100 किया तो cost ही मिलेगा directly. Fine. After this, opening stock is 1/3 of closing and closing is 30% of sales. So let us calculate the closing stock directly. So closing stock will be equal to 30% of sales. Sales is rupees 3 lakh. 3 lakh ka 30%. Yes, this will be 90,000. And then we need to have opening inventory. So opening stock is 1/3 of closing. Okay, so closing is 90,000. 90,000 ka 1/3. Okay, so this will be 30,000. Okay, opening and closing आ गया तो average करना पड़ेगा. Average inventory will be equal to opening plus closing to be divided by 2. Let me place the values directly. 90 plus 30 to be divided by 2. That's 120 by 2. Okay, so that will be equal to 60,000. ठीक है, average आ गया. COGS है हमारे पास. So we can calculate the inventory turnover ratio. Okay, formula is very simple. COGS upon average inventory. Both the values are there with me. That is 2,40,000 to be divided by 60,000. The answer will be 4 times.
4.
Right. The question is like rupees 4 lakh is cost of revenue from operations. Inventory turnover ratio is 5 times. Stock at the beginning is 1.5 times more than the stock at the end. Calculate the value of opening and closing stock. Inventory turnover ratio is given.
60,000 इक्वल टू 3.5x होगा।
ठीक है, फिर
फिर x इक्वल टू 1,60,000 डिवाइड बाय 3.5।
okay, calculated this. This is 45,714. Okay, that is x, and x was assumed as the closing stock. So closing stock is 45,714. Okay, so to calculate opening stock,
Sir, 2.5 into 45,007 into 714.
yes, so this will be 114,285 or 286.
ठीक है, okay, sir.